Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming back another week for Community Comms. You guys, this has been such an amazing journey, and we're down to almost our last episode of this season. And I am just so excited for you all to hear from today's guest. We're digging in with Jordan Dickerson from Murfreesboro Cold Patrol, who will be sharing about how her organization supports one of the most vulnerable communities in Middle Tennessee, as well as opportunities and community building that happens with volunteers. So I'm really, really excited about this one. I'm going to go ahead and get started so you can hear all the inspiration from Jordan yourself. So excited for today's guest, and I have so many wonderful things I could say about her, but let's give her the chance to introduce herself. Jordan, why don't you start us off? Let us know all about what you're building right now, what community you're contributing to.
Yeah, hi. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Jordan Dickerson. I'm the executive director of Murfreesboro Cold Patrol. We are the homeless outreach agency here in Murfreesboro, and so what that means is we're a little unique. We go to folks experiencing homelessness and get them connected to life-saving resources, but also all of the things that's needed past that. And so things like housing, rehab, employment, and all of the wonderful steps in between. But I have been with the agency I've been on staff 6 years now and was a volunteer before that for a little while. So I've been with Murfreesboro Cold Patrol for 6 years.
Awesome. And I know this is like a really I know we've had I think one other guest that's really involved in a community that's like actively serving one particular community. So that's different than some of our other nonprofits we've had as guests. But this is a very unique area of work that I don't think a lot of people think about. So for you, what was something that pulled you? Because it sounds like you volunteered a little bit before you were on staff. What pulled you into this work? Was there a particular experience that you felt like I've got to be involved?
Yeah. So I'm from Memphis originally, and I was very involved with my home church, and we were very connected to a nonprofit when I lived there that worked with people experiencing homelessness. And I fell in love with the people, and that is kind of where I have always been drawn. And so when I moved up here for school and I volunteered, outreach is kind of the real boots on the ground is kind of really what drew specifically, because there's lots of nonprofit jobs, but outreach, specifically meeting people where they're at, is something that's always kind of been on my heart. And so that was Murfreesboro Cold Patrol is kind of unique in that sense. And so that's kind of why I wanted to volunteer. And funny enough, I have a communication studies degree, but I don't have a social work degree. And so at first I didn't think I was going to be qualified. I knew that's where my soul wanted me to go. But I did not think I was going to be able to. And they took a chance on me, and I started as a case manager and then worked my way up to executive director.
Wow, that is awesome. And it sounds like this is something that's been really meaningful for a long time. And coming from communications myself, I can say that it's the most rewarding thing, having worked in for-profit and then non-for-profit, right? It's so rewarding when you get to work with geez, this is not just me, but a lot of times you're putting those same skills to work. It's geez, I didn't know that this applied here, right? I didn't know.
100%.
I'm sure the organization is so much better for you having that background as well. And this particular community that you're serving here in Murfreesboro, I know when you work with underserved groups like this, a lot of times we can walk in and think that oh, I'm the one being of service to them. But I know that sometimes that shifts around a lot, right? What do you think is special? What makes you excited to come and serve this particular community every day?
Yeah. Our folks are incredible. I mean, some of the best people that I have ever met. They are kind and hilarious and caring and protective even of us and our staff. And they're just some of the best people that I have ever met. And so it's truly an honor to get to walk alongside these individuals. And that's really what we do is we are here to walk alongside them, help them with their journey. This is their lives. And so we are just here to kind of help them navigate to whatever next step that they're getting to. And so that's kind of the beauty of, especially with folks experiencing chronic homelessness, which we focus on, is they might not have trusted another organization in years. I mean, some of these folks have lived on the streets 15, 20 years. And so being able to build those relationships with them every day, letting them know that like they're seen and cared and loved. And then when you're ready, absolutely, like let's get you into housing, let's get you into rehab, let's get you into employment, all that good stuff is they're great people to be around.
That just, you said something, and the way that you said it just come, and here I go on another side tangent. I think everyone's used to be doing that by now, but you said something that is so unique, is that like you're here to walk alongside. So like they get to be in control of their life and their choices. And that's something that's so unique. I think a lot of times, going into these types of work, you think, oh, I'm here to tell you what's good for you, because maybe you don't know, but instead you're taking that approach of, no, I'm going to honor you and your dignity. And that seems so different that's one of the reasons too that I love, and we always support Murfreesboro Cold Patrol, is because you guys are doing it different.
Thank you.
Kind of thinking about that kind of along those lines, when you first started, because I mean, I'm pretty new to Murfreesboro myself, and by new, I mean, I've been here like 7 years, so maybe not that new, but I until I met you actually at one of the Love Your Neighbor events that Muslim Youth put on with you guys. I knew absolutely nothing about this community, and when we started and we saw the way that you guys serve, we're like, wow, this is so different, because usually it's like, oh, like keep your distance, or let me give you these things, and then that's where it ends. But do you think that maybe, because I don't know much about the organization before you were there, do you think maybe there's a particular need or an area where you feel like your work has contributed that maybe helped either the organization grow or the kinds of people you're able to reach grow?
Yeah, we and thank you for saying that. We definitely try to give folks autonomy. We know that this is their lives, and when you start trying to kind of deciding their lives, it doesn't work. As if you were telling me what to do. But I think the uniqueness of you can learn all of these skills that are very, very important. Being people-centered and trauma-informed care, and making sure that we are treating folks how they're supposed to. But I think one of the biggest things that I would like to think that I have added to Murfreesboro Cold Patrol is just the passion of, we've got great people, and our volunteers are very passionate, and my staff, I've got an incredible team. We're a staff of 3. And so it's a very little but mighty staff. But I think kind of one of the things that sets us apart, because there's lots of very passionate people, but I think that's kind of the piece that you need, and we're working on growing our outreach to the community. It's funny, the folks experiencing homelessness, they know us. They've always heard of us. We're trying to now make sure that the rest of the community also knows about us and the work that we do. And so that has been an interesting challenge, is the folks who need to know, thankfully do, but also making sure the community knows as well, so then they can come alongside us and support us as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big area too, because a lot of people see, oh, well, these big name organizations have a lot of money put behind them already. Like those are the names I see everywhere. That's the only place I know how to donate to. But it's you guys, right? Like the smaller organizations that are doing the work on the ground, grassroots, that are making the most difference. And I'm going to go on another side quest, but I know that you, being as involved as you are, probably know the answer, because you said something. You said that you guys are a team of 3 plus volunteers.
Mhm.
Can you let the folks that are watching that maybe don't know anything about you guys, like team of 3, you think, oh, maybe you're serving 30 or 40 people a week, but like, tell us how many people are you guys like serving in an average, let's say a time period, like a month, how many people are on average are served by Murfreesboro Cold Patrol?
Yeah. So we kind of have a good rule of thumb that if you walk into our door, or if we walk into your encampment and you're there and you're homeless and needing services, we will serve you. We serve everybody. We're kind of unique in that sense of no matter your criminal charges, no matter your current or past history of substance use, no matter your mental health, no matter whatever race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, no matter what, we believe you deserve. If you are homeless, you deserve housing and love and respect. And so for that reason, we do serve a lot of folks. And so it really ranges. I know I actually just, and I know you asked about the summer, the midsummer, and then the winter for sure are our busiest
Okay.
times. But I just pulled some numbers recently that are each case manager serves about 500 people a year.
Wow.
And so sometimes that is doubling up. Sometimes we serve the same individual, but we are, my team is little but mighty. They are able to serve a ton of people. And like, for instance, we had cooling stations last week because it was just so hot. And so anyone who walks in the door who's homeless, we will serve you and try and get you to connected to the next steps and resources and stuff like that.
And now, it is hard when you're building community. I know that's one area that you said you're like working on that external outreach. One thing I think that you guys have been particularly skilled at is knowing when to partner with other organizations so that you can expand that reach. And so what do you think? I mean, I can imagine a few things that you guys are really good at that probably help, but what from your perspective is something that really you think is has contributed to your people staying engaged or involved over like periods of time? Because you guys have maintained a number of volunteers that just keep coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really easy to fall in love with our folks. I know that sounds like cliche, and I'm very biased, but like our folks are awesome. But because we're able to truly meet them where they're at, and sometimes it's and it looks different every time. So it might be. We bring someone into the office to help do a foot washing station because they've been walking and they have sores on their feet so bad that they just got out of the hospital for it, or it's case management to help someone find an apartment, or it's connecting with someone who's gotten into housing who is just lonely, and we've got that relationship, so we're taking them to lunch to just connect and make sure that they're still engaged. And so our volunteers are really kind of able to find the parts along that journey that they really relate to. Some folks have recovery backgrounds. So like those folks love to take folks to meetings or to, connect with individuals in that way. And so really our volunteers and our team are able to connect with all different types of people, but in ways that also really serve the volunteers interests as well.
That is so powerful. I think especially in nonprofit, we think about there's this line, right? Like you do this first and then you get to do that. And I love that approach of saying, well, what are you good at? Okay, this is where you can serve, right? Like whatever skills and talents you bring, that's what we want. We don't want you serving in a capacity that you're not able to give or what you feel best about giving. That is, oh gosh, I love that approach. I think it's powerful to think about that, because you're not just saying what we already knew about Murfreesboro Cold Patrol. This is that you provide dignity to the unhoused population here in Murfreesboro, but you're also giving that same respect and dignity to the volunteers to say, okay, where do you feel like you can best be a benefit? And then honoring that in that. Not that it always looks that way, because sometimes it's like, look,
Yeah.
I'd really love to be doing that, but we need this right now.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
I
there's
think,
enough to go around. And like
yeah.
we even some of our folks who start, because when you say we're going to do outreach, some folks get a little intimidated. They're like, I don't know if in the middle of the woods is for me. And like, that's okay. We could really use help sorting and organizing at the office or something. So like, it's figuring out like, or do you, my shameless plug, do you love accounting? We could really use you. Or like, is there something that you do well and then those, especially those people who tend to are like, let me start in the office first. Half of those become our hardcore outreach volunteers, because you get to meet a client in the office, realize you connect with them, and then can continue that relationship outside of the office as well, of like, I can help take you to a doctor's appointment that's not in the middle of the woods or something like that.
And it feels like you're like, okay, great. And then I know like there are some people, like for example, I know what my family has done is that my son is really, really, ever since he learned about that there's kids that don't have homes, he's been really passionate about it. And so when he was about 10 years old, he's like, no, I want to give something. And so we thought of you guys immediately, because we know you're out there serving people. And so now this is something that a 10-year-old can do, instead of like, oh no, your kids can't volunteer there because you're going in populations where you're not sure what the environment will be. It's like, no, there's always some way that somebody of any age can contribute and feel like I'm making this a better situation for someone.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can always get anyone plugged in.
All right. So it's time. We've talked about all the exciting things. Now it's time to get to the hard part.
Okay.
All right. So I think that a lot of times when we talk about organizations or like leadership in general, it's one of those things where we're like, yeah, this is great and we're excited, but like there are hard parts to building and sustaining community. And sometimes because we don't talk about those a lot, when people are faced with them, then they run away because they're like, oh geez, it must not be for me because stuff got hard.
Yeah.
So I love to break that out. Like let's talk about the hard stuff. What has been the hardest part of building, sustaining, maintaining this community?
Mm-hmm. Because we work with a very vulnerable population, I personally think, and it is also the best part of our job, but because we work with such a vulnerable population, the loss is really hard. We have folks who pass away. We have folks who get sick, or they've tried to do everything right and the system is messed up, and they lose their place, or they lose their job that they've worked hard on, or it wasn't the right medication and so they lost their job. Like there's lots of different things. And so unfortunately, because it's so relational based, the emotional fatigue, I think, is the hardest part. And I think that's what our volunteers and staff see, and folks think it's worth it. This little wins and the huge wins are worth it, but it's definitely the hardest job I've ever had as well, because of the lows sometimes are low.
Yeah, I mean, you're investing into somebody's life, because what you guys are doing isn't just saying, oh, we serve meals to the unhoused on this day, or we, like it's a shelter, somebody comes to sleep in once in a while and we'll help them when they're ready, or they say that, right? Like you guys are really walking alongside in every step of that journey. You guys are just like, okay, great, you're not ready yet, that's fine. You're, like we'll be here when you are. Yes. And we're going to continue showing up whether or not you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, in that, and that's what's necessary, right? Because these are people that probably, especially in vulnerable populations, like you're facing, like, I don't trust systems, I don't trust organizations, I don't necessarily have that built in. And so you've got to develop that. And that, definitely I can see that where that could put a strain on a volunteer or a staff member of like, geez, we did everything we could and we still can't. And it's hard, but it's real. And it's, like you said, there are wins along the way. Speaking of that, what do you think is one of those lessons, either about leadership, community building, communication, right? You think, oh, I've learned that along these past 6 years, that maybe you think might have made it easier for you if you learned that one sooner.
Oh yeah. This job I'm learning all the time, especially as a nonprofit, like a small nonprofit. We're learning how to do mechanic stuff and how to fix things in the office. But I think one of my biggest things was, because I care so much, was the boundaries and the quicker you learn boundaries, they're not just for you, but they're also for our clients as well. And so that's something that I now tell all of anyone who's getting hired on, any interns, anything of the boundaries and the self-care. If you want to do this truly long term, has to start soon, has to start in the beginning, because the longer it goes, like burnout and emotional fatigue and stuff, they hit you huge, but at the end. And so once they hit you, it really is kind of altering. And so starting as soon as you can on having good boundaries, having good self-care and all of those things, I think the quicker you can start those practices, the better you are in the long term to sustain.
That is such a heavy leadership lesson that just comes across so many things. Because I think sometimes we think that we're loving people and if I have love, there's no boundaries. But when you love people well, you do have boundaries. That's what allows you to love them well and continue loving yourself. And that answer actually leads perfectly into our next one. Speaking of kind of that self-care angle and taking care of yourself, what is something that you do personally, maybe outside your work, that helps you to stay grounded or recharged? Or I think everybody needs that. You need something to step away from such heavy work. What is that for you?
Yeah, I have an amazing support system. My family and friends are just incredible. I will also say I have a therapist who's wonderful. Shout out to Jacqueline. Kate, if anybody needs one. But because I asked a bunch of mentors when I first got into this, how do you not burn out? And almost all of them said, get a therapist. You deal with such heavy things that sometimes your family and friends don't understand.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you don't want to come home and tell the people you love, this horrible, awful thing happened today or something,
Yeah.
So I have an amazing therapist. I have an amazing support system involved in, I think you really need hobbies and things to do on the outside as well. So I'm involved with Murfreesboro Little Theater, and so I'm able to have that outlet as well. I think figuring out my team laughs. One of my favorite self-care things is going to get my nails done every 3 weeks. And for that hour and a half, you can't call or text or whatever because my hands are busy. So just finding little things that work for you, I think is so important and key. And that's what every mentor that I talked to in the beginning said. And it's really true.
No, that is, you kind of named 3 categories here, right? You're talking about an outlet that is outside art, something that's artistic, something where you really are put in a position where you're forced to just sit here and do nothing, getting your nails done. Nobody can, I literally can't right now. I have to sit here and do nothing. And then the last one, which I think is so important, is therapy. A lot of times when people work in mental health fields, they think, well, I'll just talk to my coworkers or I'll just, and it's not enough. You need somebody on the outside that can see things from a different perspective to pour into you regularly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know therapy is kind of difficult difficult to find in the beginning, but there are tons of options when I started as a case manager, I started somewhere with a sliding scale. There are places, if you don't have insurance, where it's free, and there are options, I think, for therapy. So I'm a huge proponent of that, just to have that additional outlet. I think, especially when you're dealing with It's not just, oh, my project messed up, or, oh, we didn't hit a report like we wanted. Like, these are people's lives. And so it's having additional support, I think, is
Yeah.
super
So
helpful.
your job is largely creating safe spaces for other people, but you also need that safe space for
Yeah,
yourself too.
absolutely. I believe in that fully.
All right, now we're winding down. If somebody wants to get involved, they want to support Murfreesboro Cold Patrol, what you're doing, what's the best way for them to start or find information to get connected to you guys?
Yeah. So follow us on social media. My shameless plug also. So we are on Facebook and Instagram. We post different opportunities, whether it's volunteer opportunities, whether it's board opportunities. You can definitely reach out either on social media or through the Cold Patrol phone or email, and that's posted everywhere on our website, online, everywhere. And so that is definitely one way. And even if you like, we've had kids who during the summer they had a yard sale and they did a lemonade stand for us. So like, even if it's not directly in the office volunteering,
Yeah.
there's I promise there is some way that we could put your time and talents or treasures into Cold Patrol. So reaching out to us would be the best thing. We always are looking for volunteers to do outreach with us or to help in the office, or literally it's help someone get to a doctor's appointment or something. And so we're always looking for volunteers like that. And I would be remiss to say we are very blessed to have some grant funding, but we're mainly donor funded. So we have opportunities. You can become a monthly donor. And spoiler alert, we're going to have a new, if you donate $25 a month, you can get a t-shirt coming out soon.
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
you can become a monthly donor. You can, we've had organizations or churches or groups do like fundraisers for us, which is amazing and huge. We try to be really great stewards of every dollar goes. If it's not helping someone literally get out of homelessness or get to their next step in life, we don't spend it. We're trying to be such good stewards of the money that we're given. And so we can always definitely use those treasures as well as people's time and talent.
Oh, well, definitely. And I'm excited. What we will do is in the caption of this recording, we're going to make sure that all those links are included so everybody can follow along on social media and get involved through the monthly giving program or in any other way that it makes the most sense for them. And then my last question, I always like to end on a positive note. And we've talked about some really heavy stuff today, so it can feel overwhelming. But when you think about the future of the community that you're serving, right? Because that's one community, and then the one that you're building in a volunteer base. What do you think gives you the most hope about where you're headed?
It is when we get to see the smiles and the faces of the people who are turning their key into permanent housing for the first time, or the people who we had a girl literally today come in just so excited because she couldn't wait to tell us she finally got employment. Like the smiles and the folks in the wins really do that's why we do what we do. And so that's we keep going because of that. And I think anytime folks get connected to Cold Patrol, it's not hard to find. You can easily see that, and it builds resilience, and it builds that community is getting to celebrate the wins with folks as well. And so I think we have been very blessed to see Cold Patrol is 9, almost 10. We've been very blessed to build the community that we've got, but we are able to do so much more when the community comes together. And so we have been able to really hone in on that. And I think in the next 10 years, it's going to be just incredible, I personally think.
I mean, I am excited to see what comes next for you guys. I am excited for all the people that are going to learn about what you're doing and be able to contribute, because this one of those things, like I said, that it's like sometimes we go into work like this thinking, oh, look how many people I'm going to be able to bless. And then you always walk away blessed yourself, because the gift is really for you.
Yeah.
And so I'm so excited about what's coming next for you guys. Any final parting words for those who are tuning in on like what I know we shared what we're most excited about, but is there anything that's coming up soon where people like, this is your opportunity to plug in if you are interested in doing something right now?
Yeah.
And this is for context, this episode will likely air in August.
In August. Okay, perfect. Yes, we are always accepting volunteers. We do a bi-weekly volunteer meeting. Well, it's the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. And so as soon as this drops, if you are interested in getting plugged in with us, we would love to have you. We are going to be having in September or October, the end of September maybe, a fall festival with the community at Cold Patrol for our folks. So folks can come volunteer and meet clients and get connected that way. And then I will also say, we are having our first ever fundraiser luncheon, and it's going to be really awesome. We're going to have Murfreesboro Little Theater is going to come in and tell some of the stories of some of our folks, and so that is going to be in November. And so we would love to, it will be free to the public. We would love for you to come in and see kind of the awesome work that our team and volunteers are doing, and so we'd love to have you come eat lunch with us.
That is amazing. We'll be sure to share all that information as soon as it is available. But again, just like you said, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month is your opportunity to get plugged in and at least learn about it. Like, the worst that can happen is you get in and say, you know what, maybe I'm just going to donate a few dollars and call it a day. But just learning, I think having a resource like this for the unhoused in our community and knowing how it works is like a world. It'll make a world of difference for the way that you see your own community. Even when you're driving around and you see somebody at a, pulling off the highway or something like that, just understanding that resources exist for them. And now you're connected enough to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking the time today, Jordan. I really, really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what's next for you and Murfreesboro Cold Patrol.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. It's been a pleasure to be here.
All right.